Mari kita sama-sama menempuhi cabaran, sehati sejiwa kita bersama mencapai kejayaan. Tak kira bangsa dan agama, demi negara tercinta, bersatu padu kita mesti menang.
Bersama kita mesti menang.
Tolong menolong dan bersama menempuhi cabaran luar biasa ini.
Mari kita sama-sama menempuhi cabaran, sehati sejiwa kita bersama, semangat kita.
Kalau boleh rakyat Malaysia kekal duduk di rumah,
jadi tolonglah duduk rumah. Senang lah.
We definitely can go through this fighting.
Bersama kita mesti menang. Bersama menempuh gelora. Mari kita berdoa untuk Malaysia. Jua anda berada dari perlising yang sabar.
Good evening, this is Sherlyn Pang and you are watching MSME News Network. Malaysia faces worst unemployment crisis since the global financial crisis in 2008. The Department of Statistics Malaysia, DOSM, has released its latest report on the labour market. Chief Statistician of Malaysia, Datuk Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin, in his broadcast address dated June 15th, announced that the country's unemployment rate has spiked to 5% as of April 2020. Data shows that the unemployed persons have gone up 48.8% as compared to a year ago to 778,800 persons. Further, according to DOSM, the 5% unemployment rate is the worst ever since the 2008-2009 global financial crisis, where unemployment rate in Malaysia stood at 3.7%. The closure of most business operations during MCO, which extended into the month of April to curb the spread of COVID-19 outbreak, has escalated job losses nationwide. According to the report, it was forecast that Malaysia's joblessness rate for 2020 will remain gloomy, as it will continue ranging between 3.5 and 5.5% annually. The number of employed persons began dwindling from March 2020 onwards due to the Phase 1 of MCO implementation. However, the Malaysian Employers Federation, MEF, has stated that the latest 5% unemployment record is just the tip of the iceberg for the country. Previously, MEF Executive Director Shamsuddin Bardan has warned that Malaysia's unemployment rate may hit as high as 13% this year. The rate translates to as many as 2 million job losses as more companies began closing down, unable to withstand the impact from the onslaught of the pandemic. Not only that, he also said that the country's politicians have not been paying attention to the deteriorating economic situation due to their constant politicking, which was already hurting from escalating external headwinds. He adds that Malaysia risks losing half of the country's national gross domestic product due to the compounded problems. Meanwhile, the Malaysian Trade Union Council, MTUC, has retorted at the Employers Federation by calling on the government to impose the Emergency Employment Regulations. The Emergency Employment Regulations imposition was urged to prevent more employers from retrenching their staff for a specific duration in order to protect workers' rights. Additionally, the labor force participation rate (LFPR) in April 2020 declined 0.5 percentage points to 68.1%. The census released on June 15 reveals that the working population decreased by 156,400 persons, or negative 1% year-on-year, to 14.93 million persons. The most affected sectors were in the manufacturing and services sectors, namely accommodation and food and beverage, arts, entertainment, and recreation, as well as other services such as beauty centers and salons. According to DOSM, in view of the climbing rate of loss of employment, job seekers would find a challenging job market climate during this timeline. Moving on, here's the 9th Laksana Report update released by MOF June 16th. The Minister of Finance, Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz, had on Tuesday, June 16, 2020, released the 9th Laksana Report in a written statement. Firstly, on the wage subsidy program WSP up to June 12, 4.08 billion ringgit, or up to 80 million ringgit from last week, had been approved for 295,265 employers to benefit some 2.31 million employees. Employers may apply for the 5 billion ringgit worth WSP, which has been extended for another 3 months. For employees in the tourism sector and sectors in the negative list that have been put on unpaid leave during the SCMCO, their employers may apply for the WSP, provided the subsidy goes directly to the employees. Next is the EPF's COVID-19 Assistance Program, ECAP for employers. As of June 12, 31,400 applications had been received. 7,194 applications were approved, representing 47.9 million ringgit in terms of employers' contribution. This reflects an increase from last week's amount of 42.9 million ringgit. Thirdly, on Geran Prihatin Khas, commencing June 15th, 1.46 billion ringgit will be disbursed to 488,487 applicants whose applications were approved on May 31st. A subsequent 35,859 other applications have been approved on June 5th, for which the disbursement of 107.57 million ringgit will be made starting June 29th. Each approved application will receive 3,000 ringgit. The appeal date closed on June 15th. Fourth is the SME Soft Loan Funds under Bank Negara Malaysia's BNM supervision. As at June 12, the total financing amount of 7.8 billion ringgit had been approved by local banks to benefit 18,449 MSMEs. This amount includes funds from the Special Relief Facility, SRF, and Agro-Food Facility. Sixth, with regards to the BSN and Tekun Nasional Microcredit Scheme as of June 12, under the BSN Microcredit Scheme, 6,074 applications have been approved, valued at 216.7 million ringgit. As for the Tekun program, 21,674 applications were approved, amounting to 166.14 million ringgit. And with that, about ends our news for the day. Stay tuned to MSME News Network as we strive to bring you more updates concerning the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. This has been Charlene Pang. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Mari kita sama-sama menempuh cabaran, sehati sejiwa kita bersama mencapai kejayaan. Tak kira bangsa dan agama, demi negara tercinta, bersatu padu kita mesti menang. Menempuh gelora, mari kita berdoa untuk Malaysia. Kita semua bersama menempuh gelora.
Bersama kita mesti menang.
Tolong menolong dan bersama menempuhi cabaran luar biasa ini.
Mari kita sama-sama menempuhi cabaran, sehati sejiwa kita bersama, semangat kita.
Kalau boleh rakyat Malaysia kekal duduk di rumah,
Jadi tolonglah duduk rumah. Senang je.
We definitely can go through this fighting.
Bersama kita mesti menang. Bersama menempuh gelora, mari kita berdoa untuk Malaysia. Jua anda berada dari Perlis hingga Sabah.
They told me not to try, not to aim too high, to surrender. Dreams would show surely fade away. A fairy tale cliche, a pretender. But I kept my head above it all. They could not stop me. Back up on my feet after each fall. And now look at me, I'm here, staring at a brand new page, standing on a promised stage with the titans of tomorrow. No fear, you can try to prove me wrong, but I know that I belong with the titans of tomorrow. Yes, I know that it's a long road, but I am marching on in battle mode to the beating of my heart. Ooh, every step is gonna get me there. Blood and sweat and tears, but I don't care. I know I've got to play my part. 'Cause I will keep my head above it all. You will not stop me. Back up on my feet after each fall. It's my destiny. I'm here, staring at a brand new page, standing on a promised stage with the titans of tomorrow. No fear, you can try to prove me wrong, but I know that I belong with the titans of tomorrow. I'm here, staring at a brand new page, standing on a promised stage with the titans of tomorrow.